Today we have Miss Theresa and Mr. Sunny who have been married for 33 years. Miss Theresa was diagnosed with ovarian and uterus cancer in 2009 and Mr. Sunny was diagnosed with blood cancer in 2016. And they are here today to share their experience with us.
Hi,
Hello.
hello.
And thank you for joining this webinar with me.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks.
Alright, so maybe we can start off by Miss Theresa sharing us your story.
Yeah, sure. Hi, everybody. My name is Theresa Liu. I'm 55 this year. Oops, a bit old. I have been diagnosed with ovarian and uterus cancer since 2009. I lead a very active lifestyle. Very active person. I seldom sit down or not a couch potato. So I finally have these pains and all these things, one after another, especially abdominal pain. I always thought it's just a normal lady's monthly period pain. Didn't give it a much thought. And because the pain is more acute towards the end of 2008. So I always think that because my workload, my work pressure is very high, and usually year end is crazy. So I always think, this is just pressure, work from pressure, nothing one lah. Just rest a bit, relax a bit, nothing. But every time the period comes, the pain is more and more intense as every month goes by. Until December, when I was having my period for the month of December 2008, the pain was so bad that I had to lie down totally. You know? And I remember I ate a total of 8 Panadols, no difference. Okay, that's okay, something different now. Why? You know, still never thought of anything bad. Okay, I just push it aside until the December 2008. Yes, the pain is very bad. Okay, then January 2009, it was so bad. I was in the middle of a meeting that I suddenly turned pale. People in the meeting also say, "Hey, what is wrong with you? Your face so pale." You know, because I felt the period so heavy that I know a lot came out and the sudden loss of blood was a lot. After the meeting, I straight went to see my gynae, and then my gynae checked and said, "Oh, I cannot do anything. I have to wait. My gynae have to wait for me to finish my period. Then only I can go back and do a very good clear scan." Okay, so that's how it started. So once scanned, then we found a very big cyst, and immediately the doctor ordered a biopsy to be done because it's as big as a fist. Okay, so it says no waiting. After the biopsy was done, I think very fast. He gave me only 1 week, but I bargained for 2 weeks because it was Chinese New Year. You know, the please after Chinese New Year. So the third day of Chinese New Year, I'm already in the hospital. And I did keyhole surgery first to remove the cyst. But the minute the cyst was removed, the doctor sensed something is not right, sent the cyst for analysis and to get a confirmation. And within 24 hours, it came back to say that it was malignant. Okay? It was cancer. Then 3 days later or whatever, a full hysterectomy surgery was performed immediately. So there's not much time for me to relax or think about it or whatever. So that's how it is. But then, while after the keyhole surgery, before the actual surgery, I had a PET scan done as well, and that's when the doctor found out that I had uterus cancer as well. Okay, so that means I had two cancers simultaneously. So these kind of things nobody knows. And mind you, I always have my yearly scan, and I don't miss out on my appointments. I always have my annual pap smear done, and nothing was odd about it. Everything was okay. But the symptom is very abnormal, heavy period, very painful. I can't stand, I can't walk, I can't anything. I need to lie down flat. So that's how the early symptoms is. After that, everything was okay. I did not stop working. After 60 days of normal MC, I'm back to work. Okay, but of course, half day lah. It was a very trying period. I still continue to work, but after 2 years, my body gives me signals to say that enough. I cannot do it anymore. The body is giving way, meaning that I'm having a symptom such as dizziness, nausea, my hands started shaking. I'm heading for a breakdown. That means that the stress is too much already on the body, and is the way to say that enough. So I went back to my gynae and as well as the oncology unit, and then they checked and they asked me what is wrong. I got a scolding by my doctor because the post-operation 1 day, 3 days, 1 week, monthly, all that I passed with flying colors. But after the 2 years, my results started going down. Everything started going on. So then the doctor did a full scan, full checkup, full everything, and come back and tell me, okay, the results. You want the good news or the bad news? He says, okay. Good news is he knows what is wrong. Bad news is I have to stop work immediately, or my doctor will cease to be my doctor. He will ask me to go and look for another doctor. So it's a shock to me. So in the car after the hospital visit, I was very quiet. My husband, Mr. Sunny, said, don't say a word. When I go back, I'm going to draft a resignation on your behalf. Okay, I just to sign on it. Next day, go back to office and hand in. That's all. No talk, no negotiation. And resign. Okay. My job actually, I need to give minimum 3 months notice. But the minute I hand in my resignation letter, I hand in on a Monday. I walked out on the Friday. That shows how many days of paid leave I have accumulated. So I have to walk out because I'm choosing life. I'm choosing my life to get my life back, not the work. Okay? So this is how it is. What I'm trying to say is don't die for your job. I take it easy from there onwards. Okay? I don't really follow a strict diet, like change to a vegetarian diet. No, my doctor also told me don't do it because your body is so used to whatever you're eating. If I suddenly change my diet totally, the body has to cope up with that again, the sudden change. Okay? So whatever you do, just do it moderately. So I enjoy durian, okay. I enjoy asam laksa also. I enjoy my curry. I enjoy everything. I'm a Malaysian. I love food. I'm a foodie. Okay?
Yeah.
But I don't overdo.
Mm.
Okay? Don't overdo it at all. And of course, whatever the doctors advise, follow. Okay? I'm not on strict medication. Neither am I on any hormone replacement therapy. It's a definitely no for me because the minute I do any HRT, my cancer, because it's an ovarian cancer, it will come back, right? So also I was cautioned I cannot take anything that will affect my hormone. So at one time, whatever I take, because it's so new to me, and there was no support group, whatever, during my time, I felt so lost. I do not know who to ask for or for advice, sharing. So I have to rely on the doctor and let go of stress. Let go of stress. I mean, in my case, while I was in the hospital, they sent in a psychologist and found out the cause of my cancer or a very large contribution is because of stress for my case. 70% is caused by stress. So I learned a lesson there. Don't put yourself under undue stress. It will cause the body to go haywire. And if you don't look after yourself like how I did, then that's not good. Okay, that's my advice to a lot of people out there. A lot of people don't never think of it like I'm really a energizer bunny. So I said, how can it happen to me? No, not possible. I'm not a choosy eater. I drink a lot. I hydrate myself pretty well. Exercise, so much of walking around. 10,000 steps are no issue, a day, that kind of thing. I said, how can it happen to me? I thought it only happens to those people who are sickly, who are not active. But no, it happens to anybody. It can happen to anybody. So I was not given any treatment, but I was under strict supervision by the doctor. I was not on chemo because of my age, unless my condition post-operation deteriorates. So that's what he said. Because mine was stage 1A and stage 1B. My ovarian cancer is stage 1B. My uterus cancer is stage 1A. Okay? So because it's number one, it's early stage. Number two, because of the active lifestyle I lead. So the doctor do not want to put me on any chemo or HRT or anything like that. But he monitors my activities and all my vital signs and everything very, very rigidly. And until he's okay with me, then I relaxed a bit. You know?
Mm.
So initially, must be very good girl lah. Whatever doctor say, must follow. I increased back my sleep a lot. There wasn't any support group at all. I do not know who to turn to. I felt very lost. So because of that, of what I've been through, now I would like to help or even just sharing with other patients because sometimes people say, huh? Cancer, you die lor. Now it's a death sentence, like just like me. Okay? I also thought the worst, and then come to terms with it, then we can accept it. Okay?
Accept,
So
yes.
now, I would really love to assist or help out who just want to hear from another patient's point of view or cancer survivor's point of view. Because it's very difficult to share if the other party is not a cancer survivor. There will be a lot of common grounds and people will start asking questions like what do you eat, what do you do, what everything, a lot of things which normally we don't think of, but later when we learn, oh yeah, true, then we start sharing. Because sharing is caring. That's how I see it.
Wow. It takes a lot of strength.
Yeah, that's my husband.
Yeah.
He was really my pillar of strength. He helped me out a lot. Yes.
There's one problem I want to add. Before the doctor told her, the doctor told me first. I thought I can take the news even better, which is not true.
Oh.
About her having cancer, the doctor put me aside, asked her to go out, tell me first, your wife most probably like that, before the actual diagnosis or the biopsy came back. So I had, a few days of stress. Her stress passed to me. Maybe that's why I had the cancer later.
Well, maybe Mr. Sunny can share. You can share your story now.
Okay.
All right. In the year 2016, and the month of April, I was doing some things in the back of my house, and I lifted something heavy and turned around. I had a back pain. So I thought, okay, I twisted it. I had this problem. But this back pain became worse and worse, and it didn't improve. So it came to a day in November. From April, I was suffering and all that until one day in November 2016, I could hardly walk. I couldn't even stand. So I thought if it is a slip disc, I need a confirmation. So I got Theresa to bring me to private hospital to get an X-ray done. And when they came out with the result, they told me, Mr. Lim, you have 3 fractures in your spine. I started shouting. I was so mad with them. I said, you must be crazy. If you have 1 fracture in your spine, you wouldn't even be able to move. Don't tell me I got 3 fractures in my spine, okay? So that poor lady, she just issued me a letter. She said, I'll give you a letter of referral. You go and see a bone specialist. And I spoke to a bone doctor. And after he examined everything and looked at the X-ray and all, he told me, Mr. Lin, listening to your story, I believe you. I tend to be on your side, whereby if you had this fracture, you wouldn't be moving around at all. But looking at your X-ray, they are right. You have 3 fractures in your spine. So they're very surprised, how this thing can happen. So they made me go through all the tests, X-ray, PET scan, CT scan, MRI. I went through everything, and finally in the ward at the hospital bed, my doctor came with another specialist, and he said, we have found that your bone has been eaten up. It's all porous like a sponge, and because of this, it's so fragile that one of your spinal column collapsed. It's crushed totally, and you have another 2 lesions. It's a fracture. And he said, why this thing happened is because you have got cancer in your blood called multiple myeloma, and this cancer attacked your bones. So he said, what we can do is we can try to address the cancer, but we can't do anything about your bones. It's already like this. You got to live with it. You got to be careful. You cannot fall down. You fall down, you're likely to break a few bones. Treat it with chemotherapy. So I, as a layman, only read about chemotherapy on my phone, all the you see all those videos and all those things. And I told my doctor, look, doc, I'm a layman. I don't know much about these things. But one thing I read about chemotherapy is only benefit the pharmaceutical companies. You know, all these drugs cost a lot of money and all that. What if I don't go for chemotherapy? My doctor looked me straight in the eye and said two words, you die. So direct, so straightforward. If I don't go for chemotherapy, I die. So we started treatment quite immediately. And 2 days later, one day in the ward in the hospital bed, I couldn't breathe. And I was pressing the emergency button and I was calling the nurses for help. So they put the oxygen mask to my face, and I keep sucking at the oxygen, but I still couldn't breathe. And they put it to the maximum, but still couldn't. And then they called the doctors. The doctor rushed in, and they said, okay, uh, push me into ICU. Only then I could breathe because the pressure of the oxygen is higher in ICU than in the wards. Then they discovered that my organs started failing. I think it's because of the chemotherapy, and virus have infected my lungs, my kidney. So my lungs, my kidney, and my heart started failing. So then they brought in all these specialists to address all these three issues. I had, I think, 7 dialysis for my kidney, and then I was put on some machine which got a lot of pipes all over connected and strapped to my head and all that. I was like a spaceman in a spacesuit, and I actually got claustrophobia, and it's really stressful. And I was thinking, wow, being on a life support system, what happened if I got to depend on it my whole life? Looking at the machine, looking at the four walls every time, just breathing in order to stay alive was really stressful. And then slowly it improved a little bit until they stopped the machine for a little while for me to rest, and then they put it back on again. After a few hours, they stop a little while and then they put it back on again. And one day they stopped the machine. I told the person attending to me to not put it back on, and he was shocked because that was in the evening time. The doctors were not there. He said, "You need this machine to help you breathe. How can I don't put it back on?" I said, "No, you stop the machine. I don't want the machine." So they called the doctor. He just stop it, and we monitor him very, very closely while I breathe according to the timing of the machine. I didn't sleep that night. I just concentrate on my breathing the whole night until in the morning, the doctor came and checked on me, and he told the nurses that, okay, it's okay, he doesn't need the machine anymore. The other thing is my backache was so painful that when I was in hospital, they had this remote that adjusts the hospital bed in a position that you want, whether you sit up or you lie down or whatever it is. And I held on to the remote and I told all those nurses and all attending, and even my doctor, I said, you all do not touch this remote because the minute you move it, my back will hurt very much. If you need me to sit up to take any medication or food, let me know. I will adjust it myself. Do not touch it. And at one time, my doctor told me, okay, I'm going to put you on morphine painkiller. It felt like starburst like that. It was very high and very nice sensation, but I lost control of myself. I just couldn't control my senses and all that. It's like, in another world. They administered that to me twice, and I didn't like it at all. So I told the nurses, okay, stop. I rather bear the pain than to have the morphine. Don't want. Then they say, okay, put you on Celebrex. Okay, that's another painkiller. So even that slowly I stopped. I cut it off for myself. I told the nurses, no, I don't want it. I'll bear the pain. I'll live with it. And I want to fight this pain myself because I'm not going to be lying down in bed, paralyzed, cannot move in pain. So I stop all my painkiller and I fight the pain, and slowly, somehow, thank God, I managed to do it. And when my doctor came and saw me one day sitting up, he asked me, Mr. Lim, can you please put your bed flat down and sit up? So I said, okay. I declined the bed and I sat up on my own. And she said, can you please get up and walk? So I just stood up. I walk up and down in a straight line without suffering any pain. And she had nothing to say. She called the nurses and said, is he on his morphine? The nurse said, no. He said, why? Who stopped it? He said, the patient stopped it himself. And the doctor asked, is he on Celebrex or any painkiller? The nurse said, no, he stopped it himself. The doctor just shook her head and walked out of the room. So this sharing is for you and everyone to think. If
Mm.
in any difficulty, any trouble, never give up. Fight for it yourself. Try your best. Of course, we need assistance like the equipment, the doctors, the specialists, or whatever. But ultimately, the last step is still yourself.
Wow, it takes a lot of willpower, Mr. Sunny. Definitely.
So the thing is, in hospital, like I said, when the doctor told me I have cancer, and I need chemotherapy, it's like a punch in the face where it's difficult for you to wake up from it. And I like to stress that doctors, no offense, man, but try to find a more subtle way to tell your patients news like this. And also, hospitals should have a psychologist on standby, or
Yeah.
to counsel the patient when they receive this news before and after. So this is one thing lacking in our society. I think it would be good to have this if possible. The other thing I like to say also, don't just strictly follow the dietitian. So eat whatever you can eat. Try to eat more healthy food like vegetables and fruits. But then again, whatever you feel like eating also eat moderately, like what Teresa has said. Don't overeat because at that time you will not overeat also because you don't have the appetite. So your body needs the nourishment. Please consume the food that you want. And the other thing is like what Teresa has also mentioned. A lot of cancer survivors should go out, join cancer survivor groups. One of the groups is we are very involved in is Magna. We
Mm.
offer a lot of support and a lot of help to cancer patients. Reach out to us. We are also reaching out. We go and do home visits. We share and we advise patients. Home visit and hospital visits also we do. Even meal halfway houses near hospitals
Mm.
for patients who cannot afford a hotel nearby when they go for treatment and things like that. And we
Mm.
have got small subgroup which consists of survivors and especially go and visit patients and advise them and their caregivers, like what
Mm.
I'm saying now. And we even have got sharing of experiences and even our relatives. My mom was a cancer patient. She's a survivor as well. She has cancer deep down in her throat, and that was about more than 10 years or 20 years ago. And she's very healthy now. She drives around, she goes and play mahjong, and she is 92 years old. My mom's sister, that's my auntie, also had lung cancer. She also went for treatment and all that. She survived it I think 20, 30 years ago. She is now 97 or 98 years old and she can still walk around. So when a person diagnosed with cancer, don't think that, okay, that I'm dead, I'm gone, the big C is here.
Mm.
But in today's technology, medical advancement, there is hope. There's no guarantee 100% that you can be cured. In fact, they don't use the term cure, they use the term remission. But there is hope and there is quality in life after cancer. And there are a lot of people who can help. Right now, Teresa, me, and a group of survivors are also starting groups to help even further and even in terms of financial. Because a lot of cancer become more victimized in their corporations where the management will take advantage saying that, oh, now you have cancer, you can't perform as well and all that. They cut your pay or they terminate you, you taking leave and you go for chemo, everything great, every time taking medical leave, all sorts of things. So we are setting up something that will assist them in earning a living as well. It's all in the pipeline. There's a lot of things going on. So cancer survivors, cancer patients, there is hope. There is life
Mm.
after cancer.
Wow. Mr. and Mr. Sunny, you guys have really gone through a lot and at the same time you have overcome all those things. What is the piece of advice you would like to give someone who is diagnosed with cancer?
Yes, that's what we have said before. If
Mm.
someone who is diagnosed with cancer, it's not the end of the world. Don't think
Mm.
that, okay, you're cancer, you're gone. That is what came into my mind. The first thing, I hear about it and we have talked to a lot of cancer patients. That is what comes into my mind, the first thing. They feel depressed and all that. That is what I wanted to say is today's medical facilities are there, right? There is a lot of treatment in many ways, and don't listen too much to the old wives' tale of traditional and miracle cures and all that. Because if you put aside the Western or the normal hospital doctors advice and try an alternative, you may delay the treatment and your cancer may advance in stages where it gets too advanced to be addressed, making it worse for yourself. Try to go for the your doctor's advice, do all the treatment, and then later on you can look into traditional medicine. Even IKN Institute Cancer Negara has got a department called the traditional Chinese complementary medicine department, which gives you help your body recover back better after all this chemotherapy and other treatment. So look in the right direction and wisely. Don't just listen to people take papaya skin lah, take sour salt lah, or mango skin juice lah. I mean, I'm not saying that those things are not good, but just do the right thing as to what your doctor says first before you consider all other things. And during chemotherapy, it is advisable not to take any supplements or herbs.
I think the number one thing, the minute the doctor announced, to say, okay, you have whatever kind of cancer, number one thing, first thing to do is don't panic. Don't panic. Let the news sink in, then slowly put to action. Because always remember, medical is so advanced now. During my time, it's like 10 years ago. Now it's even better.
Another thing is, don't ask why. Why me lah? Why this or why that? There is no answer to that. Nobody, you did not get punished with cancer. Okay, it just happened. Don't ask why. Just get it treated right, recover, and join us to help other patients. That is why maybe you get cancer so that you can recover from it and you can help other people as well.
Now, the final question would be: is there a piece of advice you would like to share with someone who is taking care of cancer patients?
Caregiver. For caregiver, support, moral support, can be physical support. Or something simple like fetching the children to go to school. This is the cancer patients, children, for example, to go to school or go for classes, tuition class, so that the cancer patient can concentrate on the medicine or for the treatment and not worry while going through the treatment of my anak is going to finish school already. Now the lunch after that, now the tuition. The mind is wandering and worrying. So here you are, the patient is receiving treatment, but then at the same time, the poor patient is also thinking of all these things. So it'd be very good if the family or friends, colleagues, or whatever, they can do that. And like during my time, my colleagues, or rather even my staff, they were so careful that if I go to the toilet in the office, they follow me. They scared I faint inside the toilet. I didn't know. They would just follow me and just wait for me, and then I come out. Then they go back to their seat. They are so careful. So these are the little things that people take for granted. You don't realize. So caregivers, supporters, do this. Don't give unnecessary advice. Old wives' tale like, eat this, eat that. Don't need all those things. You need to concentrate on getting well first. Once we get well, okay, you want to eat whatever, up to you.
A small help goes a long way. Yeah, just a small help.
Or even
Cook some food.
for
the patient.
Like when Mr. Sunny was sick, his cousins helped us to cook dinner for us. Because I was too busy running around, he would cook for me as well and boil soup for the both of us to drink, things like that. Because every day in the hospital and all these things come back, there's no time for anything. They're exhausted, things like that. Simple things, but it matters a lot. And it helps a lot.
One more thing I also like to mention to the caregivers is take care of yourselves as well, because if you are not healthy enough, you cannot help the patient.
Thank you so much. This has been a great pleasure. Actually, I've learned a lot. We are coming towards the end of the session. So before we end, just a little medical disclaimer that this medical information is provided as a general information only. This medical information is not intended as a medical advice. So if you or your loved one are in need of medical attention, please consult your nearest doctor to acquire the medical attention that you need.
Thank you very much, Esther, for giving us the opportunity to share with everyone.
Thank you so much, Mr. Sunny and Mr. Sa.
Bye-bye.
Bye.